In January, the co-creator of the iPhone, Tony Fadell, called out Apple and other Silicon Valley firms for creating devices that are designed to be irresistible and potentially even addictive. He went further, calling on those companies to do more to protect kids from getting sucked into the digital vortex. With children often getting these phones at age 10 or 11, it all raises questions about what's appropriate, including, is that too young for developing minds? Allison Schaefer is a parenting expert and family therapist who has thought a lot about this issue, and she joins us now for more. So good to have you back here.
Yes, good to be here.
Long time. You were here 5 years ago, I think.
Yes.
And now you're
back
the
world
again.
Has changed. Technology is changing at unbelievable rates.
Has it ever? So based on your experience, how big an issue is this so-called addiction to smartphones thing anyway?
No, I do think it's a very big issue. When I consider that I see clients once a week, I give workshops on a regular basis, there has never been any of those experiences where technology and kids' addiction, overuse, how much is screen time, worried about exposure, it's come up virtually every single time.
Time and time again.
It's on every parent's mind.
So let's go through it then, depending on how old you are. I'm going to give you an age bracket, and you just tell me sort of what your best knowledge is on this.
You're probably going to have to start small. It's going to have to start younger than you think.
Well, let's do that. Let's go sort of 0 to
6
2.
months.
Oh, 0 to 6 months.
Well, I'm just saying, I mean, they literally have baby bouncer seats that have now arms to put your iPad so that infants in little baby rocker seats can watch iPads.
What do we think of
this? This is not recommended. So, I mean, really, if we're looking at the experts that have done the research, the American Pediatric Association just recently, 2016, they changed their guidelines. It used to be nothing under 2. Even they have dropped it down to 18 months. But they say at 18 months, the only thing that's appropriate in screen time is just using it as a communication device, like FaceTiming with dad at work or something, and with a parent with them. But they're starting guidelines as young as 18 months.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Because some people are
given their kids, lots of 18-month-olds know how to use an iPad on their own.
Seriously?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get up to say 2 to 5 or 6. How much screen use is appropriate at that age?
So what we're looking for is high quality program, because not all of it is, and to do co-play, co-interaction, which means if you don't just give your kid the iPad and walk away, you sit down, it's an activity you do together, 1 hour.
1 hour per day?
Yeah.
Max?
Oh, and that'll go fast.
Okay.
That will go fast.
Let's go to the next, what are we at now? Sort of like 9, 10, 11, 12?
So once you're starting to get into that age group, it's still entertainment. And so I think as parents, we still have to look at it in terms of the overall balance of the family and looking at what types of activities that they are doing online. If it's still highly entertainment, then I think it's okay to kind of limit it as screen time. What's reasonable for your family culture, what's reasonable for the other commitments that the child has with their time and hockey and homework and trying to make a balanced, well-rounded life. So I think you're much more likely to go to kind of a media plan. I've recommended to families like have a chit system, because some kids will be so busy with homework and hockey they never get onto their, Minecraft game, but Saturday morning they want to like do 5 hours nonstop and say, well, then it's not really daily, it's a weekly total. So cash in your chits in half-hour increments, and you can, binge Minecraft if you want or whatever, but you still have some sense of setting some limits and boundaries on it so that they don't go down that rabbit hole constantly.
And is 5 hours in one fell swoop advisable?
They say the average for a Canadian kid is 8 hours a day on a screen, just so you know. But to be fair about this, when we're looking at screen time, I think and getting into these older children then, elementary, where they're starting to do homework, they're starting to have email accounts, look at what they're doing online. Some of them are creating their own web pages. Some of them are using the tools to actually draw or play GarageBand. They're being creative. So some of it's doing Google Doc sharing because they're working on homework. Sometimes they're updating their bank account. All of these things are valid things to do online. They used to be things we did in real life, but they've just moved to a good digital interface. So time is not a good measure anymore. It's about what you're doing online.
I get that, but what about 2 hours on Instagram looking at everybody's recipes
and
makeup?
And see, that is what we would call passive consumption and entertainment, and we don't need to spend all of our time on that. But the truth is it gets really hard to monitor for parents because most people are not just on one thing. They will have their iPad, their laptop, and their phone. They'll have 3 things, and I'm guilty of this too, and they'll have multiple things going at the same time. They're toggling back and forth. So I don't know how much of that is really working on your homework and how much of that is flipping over to Instagram.
Good question. We haven't got to high school yet, though. So, I mean, once you're sort of 13, 14, all the way to grade 12, can a parent put limits on what their kid does with screens at that stage of the game?
Yes, they can. But the idea, like so much of what we talk about around parenting advice, is you are going to be more likely to get cooperation from your children if you work collaboratively with them to co-create appropriate limits and boundaries. You cannot impose limits and boundaries at kids at this age. They will just creatively work around you, or you'll just deteriorate the relationship and just have a huge fight. So I think you have to have an intellectual dialogue about what you're concerned about, what you're worried about, what you're hearing about, and get their input so that you come up with some reasonable media plan between the two of you that really there's buy-in from both parties.
They know, incidentally, too, don't they? These high school kids, they know that too much screen use is bad for them.
They do.
And they're almost looking, like my hunch is they're almost sort of looking for you to put some limits on it, so that they have an excuse not to be on it 24/7.
Well, and I think to be able to say this is part of the grander self-regulation skills of a lifetime, so that when you are off at college, university, in your adult life, that you can function well without an adult imposing those limits. How are you going to manage yourself? And to your point, kids like to be recognized for their intelligence. And now we know this isn't you and willpower. This is a device that has been designed to absolutely suck you in. And so for them to feel like, oh, it's like teaching them about marketing, where they go, they just want me to buy that car because they draped that pretty girl on top of it. It's like, oh, they just want me to play that game because the pop-up box came and the next video started, and they can start feeling like, you're not going to dupe me. They want to be appreciated for their intelligence. And so we have to say, look, it's designed to suck you in. So what can you do? What can we do to help with that? And Stephen, the technology people have said, technology will fix what technology has broken. So you're seeing more apps coming onto the market that will track usage, shut down usage at certain times, help block things in order to give us tools to keep our attention where we want it to go. So everyone now in technology is aware. We want kids safe online. We want them to have good development. And we're going to see more products, I think, hitting the shelves. What? The shelves. What an old-fashioned term. The Amazon lockers. The App Store.
At what age is it appropriate for a young person to have their own, for example, iPhone?
Okay, I like that you gave the example of an iPhone because, again, technology is changing. There's now fake little phones that just do limited interaction. And I don't know about your kids. Our kids are kind of the same. Do they use their phone for phoning?
Well, no.
That's the last.
No one does that.
You have a phone, and the last thing you do is actually make a phone call, right? I mean, they're multi-purpose devices. I think we have to understand that.
Yes.
And so, if we look at what is the age for starting that, I'm finding that it really depends on the culture of where the kids are. So, when I'm down in Florida, teaching down in Florida, and I ask what the age is there, it's much younger than in some other places, in rural Canada. So, it really depends on where you are, the high school culture, parents' socioeconomic levels.
Okay, but if a 10-year-old kid comes up to their parent and says, everybody in my class has an iPhone, I want one too, what's the answer? At 10?
Right. So, I mean, the first, knee-jerk reaction is, if everybody jumped off a cliff, would you, but because I'm a parenting expert, I'm not going to come up with what I want to say. I'm going to be more composed, and the first thing I'm going to say is, you know what? And I want you to get a phone too. So I want to show alliance, not an objector.
Right.
I don't want to block them. But now I can say, let's work on getting you an iPhone. I can tell that that's really important to you. Here's all the things that we need to accomplish before we get that iPhone to you. So one is we've got to make sure that you have a good sense of responsibility. So let's start with saying, could we go a month without leaving our boots at school or bringing home our lunchbox?
This is why you are the expert. That is brilliant manipulation. That is really good.
I'm all about working towards this, but there's some criteria, and including money. Like I could say, I'm willing to pay for half, but where will the other money come? And given how much you get for an allowance, unless you pick up a paper route or babysitting, now you've added another 2 years.
Right.
So, I mean, the point is, you're not trying to artificially throw up blockades so that they feel like, again, that you're just manipulating the situation. You really want to say there is criteria, and I do want to help you, but right now, I haven't seen you look 2 ways to cross the street. If I get you a device that distracts you, I'm really worried about your safety. So let me see that we've got some of these other capacities for responsibility and attention looked after. And from a meritus point of view, when I see that you're competent and capable, then we'll move up to the phone.
How about data plans? Should parents pay for them?
I started my kids on a small data plan. I said what I was willing to pay and that any overages would go to them. And we looked at all the packages together, so it was an educational thing. And of course, my daughter was texting after 6 o'clock, and I said, it doesn't cover after 6. I know. Anyway, sure enough, the first bill came, and it was $200.
Ooh.
And instead of saying, you didn't understand, I'll cover it, no, it took her months and months and months. And you know what, Stephen, when she paid that last payment, she said, Mom, I've never felt so proud of anything in my life.
How about that?
So I think we have to start by realizing they are going to make mistakes and they are going to drop that phone in the toilet. And if we say, oh, you know, I'm so sorry, and you loved that phone, and I was only willing to buy the first one. You know, these are opportunities to teach kids about responsibility, and they're painful lessons, but they're absolutely great lessons too.
How many kids, in your experience, are addicted to their devices because their parents are addicted to their devices?
Well, there's absolutely modeling that goes on, and if parents are busy and distracted and not engaging with their kids, what else is a kid going to do if they're not? If there's access to technology there, it's absolutely going to be entertaining. So now we see a family in 4 different rooms, and everybody's on their technology. So I think that's actually very common and sad, frankly, but it's becoming more and more the norm, I would say. I mean, if we're throwing addiction around loosely, overusage, we could say,
right.
Yeah.
Okay, kids today. I don't want to overgeneralize, but I will. Kids today, it feels like, define popularity by how many likes they get on their Facebook page or their Instagram page and that kind of thing, as opposed to how many actually good, constructive, real friendships and relationships they have in their lives. Should we older folks be trying to convince them that those metrics are backwards?
Yes. Actually, I just gave an entire talk at Havergal School yesterday about the idea of being social in media. And there's something called the Dunbar's number that talks about the idea that as human beings, we only have a mental capacity to really have about 150 connections in our world, but they're not all the same. That in the innermost circle of people that would be your true friends, really most of us have about 3 to 5 of them. These are the people that are going to sit with you and hold your hand when you're getting your chemo treatment. These are the people that are going to come to you when your parents separate and you don't know where school you're going to go to. Those are your friends. And you can only maintain those friends in real life. That's not to say that you can't chat with them virtually, but you know, the ratio of people following me versus followers and how many people liked it when I posted it, so now I have to take it down and post it again in an hour where I get a better response. That stuff is all the busyness that really has nothing to do with the quality of those friendships that are part of your kind of mental health makeup and true happiness.
How do you convince a 14-year-old that the first kind of friend that you described is far more important than the last kind of friend that you described?
I think we have to change the dialogue about what we're talking about when we talk to kids about technology, kind of like we've realized we need to change the topic when we teach sex education. I mean, sex education is all about don't get diseases, don't get pregnant, and here's the mechanics and the names of your body parts. That's kind of like saying cyber safety, you know, I got to track your new friends or whatever. We need to talk about what true friendship is, what's important. Most kids will tell you that the reason why they're on their phones and what they're looking for, they want to be famous and they want to be rich. They want to design an app and they want to become a millionaire. They don't want to go to school because why? I'm going to design an app. You know, I'm just going to be famous. I'm going to make a YouTube video and I'm going to show people how I put on my cosmetics and I'm going to get a sponsorship from L'Oreal and that's what I'm going to do. I don't need to study for French. So we really need to have a conversation about values. And in a growingly secular society where we're no longer getting those basic messages, it's not being covered off in school, it's not being covered off by parents, no one's going to church. So we really have to open up the conversation about some of these basic philosophical conversations about true happiness, true friendship, what's a meaningful life, what is your contribution to the planet? And parents have to take that on.
What's a good age to start that conversation at?
I think you can start that from the time you're 2 years old and you say, can you keep the door open so it doesn't close in grandma's face? And can you pass around the plate of cookies and help put the napkins on the table? Like just the idea of kind of contribution and getting out of that egocentric, what's in it for me mentality is, we call it developing social interest, a care and concern for others and making a positive contribution. So I think it can start very young. Obviously, it looks different at 14 than it does at 2.
Well, let's pick up on 14. If you haven't developed those skills by 14, is it too late?
It's never too late. Otherwise, I would just have a sign on my counseling door. I'm sorry, you've blown it. The wonderful thing about human beings is that we always have the capacity to change. There's always an opportunity to do differently, do otherwise. So it's never, ever, ever too late.
Okay, let's go back to smartphones here and figure out, once you've made the decision, you've gone through the negotiation, the child has figured out how much he or she is responsible for paying for, all of that negotiation that you talked about earlier. Give us some handy-dandy tips on how you make sure that the kid does not get addicted to that device.
Yeah. So I think we start by talking to the child about their responsibility for smart usage and my responsibility as a parent to make sure that I am still supervising them. So one might be an arrangement about how often I'm checking your phone, where your phone needs to go at which hours, like where are the 0 phone hours, like at the dinner table,
yes.
Or, you know, car rides under an hour, or not in your bedroom after a certain time because they need to be docked and recharged.
What if you catch them sneaking look at their smartphone at 10 o'clock after they've gone to bed when the rules are you're not supposed to do it? What do you do?
So I would say, hey, we've made an agreement. We need to talk about what happens when the agreement is broken and why it's important to have a trustworthy relationship, so I don't need to worry about these things. I would probably put the onus on the child to say, what do you think should happen now? Right? What do you think would be the proper consequence for this?
Can you take the phone away?
Well, I would like to have that conversation up front. So when I'm making the rules, it's always good we call it a fail-safe. If we say, what should happen if this rule is broken? What should happen if this rule is broken? So it's better if you can have it up front. But I might take it away until we say, hey, we need to make another arrangement. One of the interesting things that you can do is, as I said, there are devices that you can implement that will connect all your devices in the house, and you can say there will be no service to that phone after 9 o'clock at night, and then there's a master control that shuts it down. So
and you can
block channels.
And you can stick with these rules. It really is incumbent upon the parent to stick to their guns on this, though, right?
But as I say, you know, so much of this relies on you having a good relationship, because, you know, it's the same thing where if you say you can't have snacks before dinner and the kid sneaks the snacks, then you put a lock on the cupboard, then the kid gets a screwdriver and takes the lock off. I mean, you don't want that to be the situation. You want to have that good, healthy relationship that says, I am not trying to ruin your fun. I have a responsibility to keep you safe. We can go online to something like commonsensemedia.org and say, let's see what they say we should do here. Let's look and research this together. Well, right here, this reputable organization that's an uninterested third party says, this is what I need to do. So I think coming down like a dictatorial authoritarian who's going to punish their kids is more likely to get kids getting more creative about how to sneak their technology around you.
That's a great point. Okay, I'll play devil's advocate here.
That's a great point, but...
However,
yeah.
Most parents that I know, by the time they get to the end of the working day, and then they come home, and then they got to deal with dinner, and then they got to deal with homework, there is not enough bandwidth left to deal with yet another teenage issue, like the smartphone, and these kids love their smartphones more than they love their siblings in many cases.
Yeah.
You know, how does a parent deal with all that?
Well, I think it's important, again, coming down to education, that one of the things, besides the draws of the bingings and the lights and the dopamine receptors, people go online because they want to be social. Largely, it's because they want to be social. The thing is, when you go online and you're social, it's kind of like having candy instead of nutrition. It gives you a short little feeling of satisfaction of being socially connected, but in the end, it isolates you. Now you're feeling more isolated, and because you're more isolated, you want to go back more online. It is loneliness that is driving us there. So what we have discovered is in that Dunbar number, people don't have 3 to 5 friends anymore. More than half of North Americans are reporting zero. So if say,
0 real friends, but 5,000 on Facebook.
Right. So I would say that in that case then, what we need to be doing is making our home life rich. So compete with that cell phone. Either put a limit on it, but then don't say don't do anything. Say, come sit with me and let's play chess. Come sit with me and let's read Harry Potter. Kids actually, believe it or not, they might moan, they might moan in the beginning, but the next thing they know, they go, that was an amazing game of backgammon with my dad. So if we keep thinking that that there's going to be this hole, kids are going to fill it with social media. But if you put a limit on the social media, you put a limit on the smartphones, and you push good, fun, entertaining family time, and you show up and put your phone away and stop checking emails, you're going to find that people are going to do this little self-reflection after and say, this was a better night. This was a better night. So in therapy, I just tell people, just experiment with it. You don't have to buy a whole hog, give up all technology, but why don't you just try a 1-hour tech-free evening of cards? And then ask your kids, did we like this? Would you like to do more of this? Yeah. Because we're just getting into bad habits.
I need you on speed dial.
Look at the little headset here.
That was very cool.
Put down the phone, Steve. Put down the phone.
Allison, not only do you know everything there is to know about this stuff, and I'm not exaggerating, but you have the best title of one of the parenting books that you wrote. Honey, I Wrecked the Kids. I do love that title.
Thank you.
Anyway, good of you to come back and visit us at TVO tonight. Thanks so much.
The Agenda with Steve Bacon is brought to you by the Chartered Professional Accountants of Ontario, helping businesses stay on the right side of change with strategic thinking, insightful decisions, and business leadership. Are you on the right side of change? Ask an Ontario CPA.